Welcome to Backyard Astronomy. It is about 4:20 a.m. on Sunday, the day of the sun, March 28th, 2021. And we are staring at the Lion constellation because I recorded last night, and the last constellation we saw in the east on the rise was this very Lion. So since that time, the Lion has culminated, and now it's on its way to rest in the west. This is about the worst time for backyard astronomy, not because the sky's not clear. The sky's actually as clear as it gets. Not a dark sky place where I live. You can see all those bright urban lights down there. But not a great day for astronomy because it's full moon. Almost. The sun right now is at about 8 degrees tropical Aries, and the moon at about 3.5 Libra. So we're about 4.5 degrees, or about, that's 6-7 hours away from the precise full moon. The full moon doesn't set until sunrise, so I wanted to show some constellations this week. This is what's happening. In a couple weeks I'll record at new moon, and we'll find that the sky offers a much better image of these stars. Anyway, hopefully you can see the Lion. Basically, with the Lion, you look for the Sphinx. And just got to move my camera a tiny bit. Wow, now there's just a star that's totally eaten by the moon. Interesting, yeah, I can't see with my naked eye either. This is Regulus. This is the heart of the Lion. And then we come up here. There's a star here. Sosma and Chirtan and Denebola. Deneb means tail. Denebola, tail of the lion. But you'll hear Deneb a lot. So that's the Lion. Now Regulus, 1 degree tropical Virgo in our day, and super close to the ecliptic plane, as is the moon, right? Our solar system is relatively flat, so this ecliptic, which is the orbital path of Earth, and therefore here on Earth, what we see is the apparent path of the sun through our sky. The ecliptic also basically hosts the travel of the planets too. You get out to Pluto and things are wonky. But actually, at this time in 2021, Pluto is very close to his node in Capricorn, and that means very close to the ecliptic plane. Of course, we're not going to see Pluto on this camera anyway. The moon right now is not near a node. The moon is at 3.5 tropical Libra. North node's at 13 Gemini. So she's not quite square the node. That would be 13 Virgo, but she's pretty close. So the node 13 Virgo would be the bending somewhere in here. The node, the north node of the moon in Gemini, which is well beneath the ground, is where the moon crosses the ecliptic plane, like going from south to north. And then in the northern hemisphere, the moon gets high above the ecliptic plane and bends, and then comes back down and crosses at the south node, which is currently 13 Sagittarius, always exactly opposite the north node. So the moon is really high right now in what's called latitude. She's very far north of the ecliptic plane, and in the northern hemisphere, like El Sobrante, California, where I am, in the Bay Area, north latitudes means closer to the top of the sky, or the zenith, from that plane. So I want to show that to you. But first, let's just kind of finish our tour of the constellations, because I realize this tree is about to eat the scorpion, or the other way around. Now we're looking at the Priestess star. So this is Denebola to the right of the moon. And then we're going to come here. Let me pause the tree. Gosh, that is a lot of sunlight that moon is delivering to the camera right now, yeah? It's an important thing to know, and the difference between stars and planet dust, like wanderers, like the moon. The stars are giving us their light, or the moon is reflecting our star's light, yeah? Okay, so this is Spica, or Spica, Chitra. Shaft of wheat that the Priestess holds, 24 degrees tropical Libra. 0 degrees sidereal Libra, that is the star that the sidereal zodiac is configured to. Amazing star, one of Mercury's Bohemian or magical stars. There's another trapezoid here. This is like the body of the Priestess, basically, although with her left arm, the way that's typically drawn. Her right arm extends out here towards the stars called Vindia Matrix. Well off the ecliptic plane, well north of the ecliptic plane. The moon's close, right? Porama, the shoulder of the Priestess, is close to the ecliptic. Spica very close. Spica is a little bit south of the ecliptic plane. And then the ecliptic comes up to Zubin el Janubi, the fulcrum of the scales. Zubin el Janubi, Zubin el Shamali, which mean respectively the southern and northern claws. Sorry about hitting the tripod. Claws of who? Claws of the scorpion. So it used to be shown that the scorpion holds the scales. So now we're looking at those two claw stars, or as it's drawn today, the fulcrum of the scales, and then one of the tops of the balances, which goes down, and then another top is here in the trees, and the scales go down. They're like hanging down like that. But it used to be seen that the scorpion was holding the scales, and those are the scorpion's claws. Now, can you see the scorpion in the tree? This is the royal star Antares. So last night we were looking at the royal stars Aldebaran, the eye of the bull, and Regulus, the heart of the lion. And now we've got Regulus and Antares, the heart of the scorpion. Scorpion's tail comes way down here and then hooks back up. So we're not seeing that now. Hard one to film from this yard because of these trees, and because very importantly, the scorpion is a rather low constellation. In our day and age, Antares, 10 degrees tropical Sagittarius, and the lowest altitude degree of the tropical zodiac always is 0 Capricorn, or 29, 59, 59 Sagittarius. Right, so one thing you'll notice if you compare this video to the one I recorded last night is how much lower in the sky these constellations are than the ones that were in this zone last night, where I had to have the camera pointing up much closer to the top of the sky. Also, if you compare this to the video I made last night, you will find that when I recorded the lion, I had to actually move this tripod towards the fence, so towards the right of the screen, because the lion is rising way over there in the north, where the scorpion rises in the south. Camera right now is pointing relatively south, I think a bit west of south. The midheaven right now is actually 24 Libra. Usually I'll do this with the stars and then confirm with my phone, but right now I did it the other way around. But hold on a second, that's not right. Oh, right, so I just found out that why my phone is, the chart's cast for Hawaii. The midheaven right now, that's more like it, 29 Scorpio. Okay. So we're basically facing it because Zunibel, why can't I say the fulcrum of the scales, right? So one thing I teach is learn the common names like the fulcrum of the scales instead of Zubin el-Janubi. Not only because Zubin el-Janubi is hard to say, though very cool to say, but it's just much more familiar and helps us learn to paint these images in the sky with our imagination if we learn the fulcrum of the scales instead, or the southern claw. 15 degrees tropical Scorpio. About 20. So we're really facing the midheaven right now because these kind of the front side of the Scorpion here and this star Grapheus or Ecrab, it's very early, like 3 degrees Sagittarius. If you're following this along with my Sacred Astronomy for Astrologers course, we haven't yet spoken about how to find the midheaven in the sky. That's part of chapter 2, the cross of matter. Actually, lesson 7 of that chapter is all completely devoted to this very important sky practice of working with the meridian line, the north-south line, to find the midheaven. Here we just kind of did it accidentally, hunting the Scorpion. I know that my camera is generally south. I didn't know. It's basically exactly south right now. Just not standing where my medicine wheel is or where I can see North Star because it's behind the house. Anyway, so you can see how the Scorpion climbs, starts in the south over here and climbs and it's very low. The Scorpion is well south of the ecliptic, which runs right through Zubin el-Janubi. So we can see Spica all the way to the right of the screen. And you'll hear me say Spica, Spica, Chitra, shaft of wheat of the priestess, ear of corn, things like this interchangeably. The ecliptic's coming above that star, right through Zubin el-Janubi, and then north, or in the northern hemisphere, that means above Ecrab, Grapheus, this star of the Scorpion, well above Antares here, on its way down to meet the Archer, who is on the rise, but certainly can't be seen behind that tree. 12th house is hidden things. Stars up here are stars of Ophiuchus, but for now I want to stay with constellations of the zodiac, since that is where we are in the course of my Sacred Astronomy course right now. So let's head back over here. It's going to get bright. So Ecrab, Zubin el-Janubi, and Spica. Can I get Zubin el and Regulus on screen? I can't. I think I can get Spica and Regulus. Yeah, here we go. So I want to try to show you how high Moon is right now using the ancient astronomical device called a hula hoop. Remember, the ecliptic is a curve, not a line. So if I just drew a line between Regulus, which is very close to the ecliptic, and Spica, which is just about 1 degree south of the ecliptic, so the ecliptic's about right here. That's not the ecliptic plane, it's not a line, it's a curve. But even if I draw this line, it will help you see how far north or above the ecliptic Moon is right now. This frame of the camera is a little bit wider than the human perception. So let me do this through Regulus, and basically, because this hoop is more than a degree, I'm just going to go through both of those stars, and you can see that the Moon is well above the hoop. The Moon is well above, or north of, and therefore in the northern hemisphere above the ecliptic plane, because she's well in front of, or beyond, we should say, maybe her north lunar node. All right. 4:25 a.m. or whatever. I think it would be time to go back to bed. But no, I've got a presentation for ESAR Star Club today on the very real astronomy of astrology as expressed by the glyphs we use to symbolize the signs in our day and age, and something I will certainly be sharing with you students of the Sacred Astronomy course in Chapter 3. See you in space, friends. Let's do this one more time. Lion, priestess. By the way, Porma, 10 degrees tropical Libra. So she can show me where the moon is. I can do things like this. It's about 5 degrees. Right, so 10 minus 5 is 5. So we just got close to that 3.5 degree moon. Okay, priestess. Dress is like down this way. Head is very close to the moon. It's a star called Zabi Java that the moon is blowing out right now. The Dia Matrix. So keep speak on the frame. Zubin al Janubi, Zubin al Shamali, the scales, and the scorpion. Now fully hiding behind the tree. Let's move the camera and see if we can't catch a little more scorpion. Yeah, a lot of what I'm designing right now is it's very artistic. And always I'm concentrating with these stars, with our relations. That star Antares marks the degree that was setting when I was born. So one thing that's helpful with the stars is to start learning where they are in the zodiac, and then you can start seeing, you know, where the planets were when you were born, or house cusps and whatnot. I was born with 10 degrees Gemini rising, so 10 Sag setting, and that's very close to Antares, but it's actually where Antares projects to. The ecliptic is up here. So this is like my descendant. It's like, so my 7th house, so it's currently the 12th. When I was born, these stars were in the 7th house, you know? So as I'm engaging in relationships there. But let me move the tripod again. It's hard to stand where I was. Right now I'm building an artistic thing and conveying the messages. So when I was born, Mercury was in the 5th house of art and creativity at this star Porma. Mercury was about here when I was born. So moon is currently kind of running over, and will be during the course of this presentation. Stars that are in my house of creativity and creations, and so I'll be turning off this camera and certainly not going inside until I've spent some time offering my presence to these lights and asking for their gracious guidance.